Arizona and Kansas State, that's the headline this week in the Big 12, but a whole lot of sneaky matchups like the backyard brawl and BYU playing a night game in Laramie. It's time to get the Big 12 squad together.
You're talking ball with the Big 12 squad. From Oklahoma State to Utah, from Kansas State to BYU, from Houston to Texas Tech, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big 12 weekend. Buckle up. It's the Big 12 squad, and we have a seat for you. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up. You're part of the Big 12 squad.
Happy Thursday night, everybody, and welcome back to the Big 12 squad. Sit back, grab your favorite beverage, and join us as we get you ready for another wild week across the Big 12 Conference. Thank you for making these shows your first listen every single day as we have Chris Level of Locked On Texas Tech, Cody Stovall of Locked On Oklahoma State, Parker Ainsworth, Locked On Cougs, Kevin Borber, Locked On Buffs, roll call still going, Richie Bradshaw, Locked On Sun Devils, Mountaineer Paul of Locked On West Virginia, Jay Catch, Locked On BYU Cougars, Derek Johnson of Locked On Jayhawks, and JT Wistersill of Locked On Utes. One big breath and one big show headed your way as the Big 12 goes on the road this week to a bunch of mid-major schools. Before we get into this week's slate, though, let's recap a bit of last week. Can we all agree, Cody Stovall, that a win against Tulane on the road is better than a win at home against 4-8 Arkansas? Everybody, are we all right there?
No, I hope you got the reaction that you were looking for.
Willie Fritz agrees. So we agree. Transitive property, that's good for us.
Cody Stovall, what makes you think that Oklahoma State's home win, giving up 600 yards, is better than Kansas State's road win against Tulane?
Well, I mean, whenever you look at Tulane, they are a completely different team. Last year, they had 17 American Conference, all conference performers. They lost 11 of those individuals. Whenever you factor in Willie Fritz, that means exactly 70.588% of their returning production is gone. I understand that the head coach came over from Troy is a really good coach. And I also understand that they returned their starting running back. But outside of that, they lose over 300 starts whenever you could talk about the 8 guys that are draft eligible that ended up in some semblance of an NFL roster. Those guys alone are 278 starts before you take into consideration the 3 guys that left Tulane with Willie Fritz and the defense coordinator for Houston. How am I doing, Drake?
Can I just hear? That is all about a team that you didn't play this week. Thank you.
You
for bringing the entire scouting report.
You didn't love the answer, but I was ready, buddy.
Death, taxes, and Mike Gundy, and he can shop for bargain basement linebackers. If you don't believe him, just ask him because he will tell you.
Jeez. This might be a cop-out, but, what if Tulane just gets housed by Oklahoma this week? How would that make us look both at Houston?
Wait
how would that make us look at Tulane?
Is that Derek Johnson of Locked On Jayhawks? Derek, you're still alive?
Yeah, we don't need to mention what happened in the game. Drake, why didn't you warn me about Jeff Grimes?
Oh, dude, I can't. What is the problem? Can somebody tell me the problem with Kansas, please?
Hey.
Yeah, I mean,
Jake loves Jeff Grimes.
Hey, Jeff Grimes is a legend in Provo, Utah. I'll have you know.
Well, okay, so you get into the game, and Kansas averaged 5.6, 5.7 yards per carry against Illinois. They held Illinois to 2.2 yards per carry. That's a Brett Bielema team. They held them. That was the lowest yardage total that Lance Leipold team at Kansas has given up to a Power 4 opponent. What was the deal? It was Jaylen Daniels threw 3 picks, and Jeff Grimes wanted to go deep or throw screen passes every play and not run the football. They averaged 4.4 yards per pass, over 5.5 yards per carry. It doesn't take a mathematician to know what you should be doing more, and they refused to rely on the run in that game. So it could just be a weird loss we look back on in a few weeks and are like, yeah, that was just an odd one. Or it might be a sign that, maybe Andy Kotelnicki was pulling more than we might have thought for the offense and the quarterback play. I don't know.
What have you done to Jeff Grimes? This is a guy who ran the ball 80% of the time in Provo. I don't know what you guys did to him.
All I got to experience, be ready for UNLV. That's all I got to say.
Ready for UNLV.
Am I white girl wasted, or was that the worst performance ever by Jaylen Daniels in a KU uniform? He just looked like a completely different player. He looked lost. He looked confused. He couldn't get his platform set right. He was throwing against his body all day. It just seemed like he was very out of sorts from the very get-go.
No, I agree. And that's been the conversation all week. Nobody knows. It's have all the injuries added up? Is it that he hasn't played in a while? He's shaking off rust? Is it a Jeff Grimes thing? I don't entirely know. And that's what's scary, because it's if Jaylen Daniels isn't the guy that you think he is, this offense is going to be very different. The season is going to be very different. And that's why this week, I mean, UNLV is a good opponent. KU beat them in the bowl game. I don't know if that helps or hurts you here in this go around, but it's one of those where it's like, if KU doesn't perform against UNLV, all of a sudden fans are going to start changing their expectations to just, can you just make a third straight bowl game versus if Jaylen does look like the guy we've seen on the bigger sample size, maybe it's back to like, okay, new season, Big 12 play. You know, Texas was tied with Wyoming in the fourth quarter. The Oklahoma State, South Alabama game, K-State lost to Tulane a couple years ago when they won the Big 12. It'll just be, you know, whatever. It's just a weird loss early in the season.
Yeah,
I would stress that we're all going to agree that UNLV is a very, very, very good opponent. We're all going to believe that.
I do want to pitch it to Kevin Borba.
Again.
Yeah, was the Kelly Leipold thing real? For those who need context here, apparently the Kansas coach's wife tweeted that she wanted more fan support. Derek, to our local expert, Derek.
Yeah, actually, nobody knows. I actually have gotten texts from people like in the media who have literally been like, should we like FOIA request Twitter? How is that going to go? But I don't know. Probably just get shut down.
I was going to let Kevin Borba talk about Colorado this week, but Dion called me and said, don't let anybody speak on our football team whatsoever. We are going to do things our own way, and nobody gets to have an opinion, period, except for us.
Let the band play, Dion. Let the band play.
What if we can we play the rap song first and then let Borba talk?
Maybe. I could give you the full breakdown of what the whole – they released a statement because that's how dramatic it was.
No.
It goes, Shadur Sanders snippet of Perfect Timing, which is the song. If you like it or not, it's not one of my favorite rap songs. And then it goes Glory, Colorado, and then they kick the field goal, and then they play the fight song, is what their statement said. Now, granted, no one was paying attention because I didn't realize that many people cared about a song after a game. But when the New York Mets did it, no one cared because they have that guy with.
They don't have a fight song. They don't have the band. They got 17-year-olds sitting in the stands waiting to play the tuba because their team scored when they do score.
The Mets have a guy with a trumpet. I mean, like, who doesn't have a guy with a trumpet?
But I mean, the students wanted. It's perfect time. I don't know. I feel like Colorado has a lot more to worry about than what song they're playing after touchdowns because against Nebraska,
the fight song, Borba, the fight song. It's pretty clear. Do you have a bottle of bourbon you keep like a Bob Euchre in Major League? Like you just before every show.
I need one talking to you because realistically, we're talking about a fight song when Colorado just got absolutely embarrassed by a Nebraska team they boat raced last year, and all they did differently was add a freshman quarterback. So,
hey, real quick, can we just talk about how crazy it is that Utah beat a Big 12 team and it doesn't count for absolutely anything this weekend? Like, isn't that
Utah
wild?
beat a glorified mid-May. We can all agree that Tulane is better than Baylor. Tulane is better than Baylor. We can all get behind that one.
Better than Baylor.
Yeah,
JT, to your point,
UNLV is really good.
Probably the game of the week in the Big 12 this week with Arizona and K-State. That doesn't count either. Like, what's up with?
I know it's so weird.
And it hurts the league because somebody
terribly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you're
especially in a midweek game. Like I would much rather that game be on a Saturday where it could be the center spotlight, and it's not only a weekday game, but like you also said, it doesn't count for anything in the conference standing, which feels like a real missed opportunity. I know the scheduling made it challenging, but it feels like a rare point where Brett Yormark did miss the mark to me.
Well, this was effectively Utah's easiest game on the schedule, so if I was you, I would not complain. If I was Arizona or Kansas,
their easiest game.
One of those two teams is going to be effectively eliminated from at-large in the college football.
We still get to play Houston. No offense, Park.
Sorry, Park. Which Houston, Baylor. After watching that Baylor again, UNLV is a very good team. UNLV is very good.
UNLV is a very good team.
Drake, I don't want to derail, but real quick, I wanted to ask Kevin, can you explain the Shadur walking off the field with like 2.5 minutes left thing before I unload on Colorado on my show? Can you tell me? I don't know. That was weird, man.
There's a lot of things to unload about on Shadur Sanders. How he answered that question after the game about the rushing attack. Didn't love that. I feel like if you want to unload, that'd be the thing. What I wouldn't unload on is him walking off the field. He wasn't the only player. Him and another guy who are injured were both walking off the field to go get checked out in the locker room is what we were told. So there's a lot of things to be upset with. I think a selective picture is probably not the one. I just don't think outside of Parker, most people don't know who Chidozie is. So he also was walking off the field, but they were going to the locker room. But yeah, there's a lot of things to be outraged about. The band, what song they're playing,
the hatred for CBS.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I would avoid that one though. That's like the least of my concerns.
Let's stay right there though. Coming up, Colorado gets Colorado State this week, and I picked the Rams. They're the Rams, right? They're so irrelevant. I don't know if I know they're the Rams. I picked the Rams to win. Let's break that down and give our predictions for this Saturday's games. That is up next right here on the Big 12 Squad. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel's where I went last week and said, hey, BYU is plus 335 against SMU. I think I'm going to put some money on this. And guess what FanDuel said? BYU won, so we're going to give you that money. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, so they have something a little bit different for you as well. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5, get a 3-week trial for free of Sunday ticket, NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV-based plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Visit FanDuel.com to download America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com. Download it today. Back here on the Big 12 Squad, a whole lot of weird games this weekend. Our conference travels to Oxford, Ohio, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Logan, Utah, and Laramie, Wyoming. But maybe the one that is the most dangerous is when Colorado goes to Colorado State and Fort Collins. Kevin Borba, the 1-2 Colorado Buffaloes going into Big 12 play. How do we feel about the Buffs after 2 games now going into the staunch confines of Canvas Stadium?
Let's relax. They're 1-1 on the year, first of all. The Colorado State game hasn't happened yet. No, I think the Colorado State game will be a very good judge of how good or where this team is at. Realistically,
well, then what were the first 2 games? Bad judges?
No, I mean we'll see how they handle opponent they should beat handily. Like that's where we're at. Realistically,
I just want to know if 2 guys are going to go bowling like the week after the game because there was an unfortunate.
Hopefully, there's no death threats this time. Yeah. I mean, hopefully we keep the death threats to a minimum. Realistically, the Nebraska game was a test of how good they do against teams that are going to be good, and they did terrible. So. What does that say about Colorado? Well, one, I think Pat Shurmur is already a problem, which if you're a fan of the Denver Broncos, if you're a fan of any coach or any team, that he's coach, you knew this was going to be an issue. They were the worst running team in the country last year, and somehow their numbers are worse. So let's just factor that in. And then also, they're very much a vibes team. I hate to be like the vibes guy, but when you go 3-and-out on the first drive and then throw a pick 6 the next, the vibes were down very quickly, and they could not respond because they have no ulterior plan outside of throwing the ball 50 times a game. So I think realistically they should handle Colorado State despite Drake's prediction. But if they don't, then I just think we're going to have a lot more problems. I think we'll start talking about Sanders' future. Will Shadur opt out? We're going to be talking about a lot of things.
He wants all of us to play offensive line next week. Oh, my gosh.
Hey, I just like to point out, last week I said the line. I had questions about it. I got a little pushback. Can I get a little cookie or something?
Yep,
no.
The line
if
is...
if you beat Illinois, maybe.
Better.
The line didn't push that. That was good. That was good.
Big bird.
Hey, the good news, KU gets Colorado late in the season. I don't think Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter will be playing. They'll just have opted out by
already looking past
Jaylen Daniels,
a very good team.
Can we do... I'm sorry, Richie. I'm going to do this to you. You're not Vanderbilt, but this kind of feels like the lovable loser. You're like, oh, hey... You're here and you're really good all of a sudden? I love that Arizona State blew the brakes off Wyoming and then beat an SEC team, like handedly beat an SEC team for 3 quarters last week. You've been awful quiet down there. Come and cash some happy checks, big guy.
I am having a good time in Tempe, and everybody else is too. We're just as surprised as you are. The bar was low, which means that when we are playing at the level that we are playing, it's such an exciting time, and everyone's kind of wondering, when's the next shoe going to drop and everything like that. And you're going to San Marcos on Thursday night to play a very quality Texas State
Level,
game.
do it. Correct him, Level. How do you pronounce it?
It's San Marcos, and then this is the Party School Bowl. That's what it is. I mean, it's the Party School Bowl.
People who know, that's real. People who know, that's the Party School Bowl right there.
I mean, applause for everybody, man. Get after it.
Well, ASU is certainly going to be hitting up Mill Avenue by halftime, which is what they've done all year long. Got to find a way to keep them in the stands, but it's very easy for them to get distracted when partying is in their nature.
True. And it'll
Hey,
be
Drake.
Raucous
Drake,
Wednesday
really,
night. Hello,
Drake,
JT.
really quick. Can we talk about something? With all of the best teams in the Big 12 looking extremely shaky last week, I feel like Utah clearly cemented themselves as the team to beat. Yes, Cam Rising got hurt in the game. It's a little wrist injury. If he would have to play this weekend, he would. If this was a big game this weekend, I've been told by people close to Cam he would play. Like, I've been told that too. So this Utah team, clearly to me, they have blown out the teams that they are supposed to blow out, and I have not seen the other teams take care of that. Before Cam got hurt and left the game. When Cam got hurt.
Before Cam got hurt, yeah. I mean,
we don't want analysis.
I had never had a girlfriend before I had a girlfriend, and then I got a girlfriend. Oh, my gosh. It's a pretty pivotal thing.
What?
2 words, JT. Uno doctor. You remember what happened last year?
I know.
He was warming up against Baylor
This
in week
feels
2.
different. He was on the sideline. He was happy. He even said it was as much. Jake, you're absolutely right. I still have PTSD from last year. But Utah has beaten the teams they were supposed to beat handedly. And yes, when Cam gets hurt, obviously Utah isn't going to be a juggernaut. But when Cam has been healthy, this team has looked as good as they're supposed to be. Baylor had negative yardage for most of the first quarter. The Utah defense is the best individual unit in the Big 12
currently. What happened after the first quarter? Did something happen after did they play 3 more, or did they stop?
I said Cam got hurt. Cam got that was good. Cam got hurt, and the offense tailed off. But as I said, this isn't a major injury, and I do want to get your thoughts on what I said about the other thing. I think the Utah defense is clearly the best overall unit in the Big 12 based on what we've seen so far.
Yeah, I could have told you that.
I think the point, before I interrupt Drake, I think the point Drake's missing is this point. Cam has a medical degree and can take care of himself. That'll really speed up the process, and he'll be okay. So.
He's older than I am. Cam Rising, older than me.
You're going to walk.
He's also older than me too.
4 years older than me. I don't know if you can walk into conversation and be like, "Oh, the top teams in the Big 12 look shaky except us." My brother, you looked
early
so shaky.
How did we look? We looked completely fine until Cam left the game. So, and with this is a minor injury.
Didn't Cam Rising point favorite and won by 11 against a putrid Baylor team? Oklahoma State and Kansas State and Iowa State all got better wins than you this week.
Kansas
no,
State
that's fair. But then Iowa State's messing around week 1, and that game was still close at various points.
Houston
in that game.
lost.
Utah hasn't really been close with Cam healthy, and once again, it's a minor injury. So I feel like we've seen Utah play at a level higher than any other team in this conference so far.
This is
JT, you can have.
You guys are all coming out after. You have to take a turn getting a punch in on me. It's coming every direction. I deserve it. But just like take a second and.
Can we get somebody in graphics to make that a quote card from what Parker just said? Because that was legendary.
That was good.
I mostly pick on Baylor because Drake's here on his own because Cam is not here. And
yeah, the guy who was like, "Sure, guys, I'll be there," and then 30 minutes pre-show. Yeah, maybe not. We're not very good at football. I'm just not going to.
Let's not act like the Kansas State win was good. They got bailed out by a pass interference call on a touchdown.
Hey, Borba, they won. We can't time out. I'm sure Chris.
So did Utah. And y'all are roasting Utah.
You were saying they had a better win. They had a lucky
100%.
win.
No, they won the game.
Win?
Kansas State had a better win than you. Yes, they beat a more quality team on the road. Tulane is better than Baylor head to head.
Drake, didn't you say Baylor was only going to win 3 games? I feel like they're going to win more than that.
No.
After playing this team, I guarantee you they're going to be this is more good Utah defense than it was bad Baylor offense.
I think it's the same problem with you and Cody this week. Because you're like, oh, man, that team we played, they're a lot better than I expected. Yeah, against your own team. You ever thought about maybe you made them look good? Oh, well,
we did not make them. Did you watch the game? They had negative yardage in the first quarter.
The difference between me and JT is I gave you a logical reasoning as to my statement. What JT is simply stating, if we all watch the same game to win a conference title, you probably have to have depth. I'm not done talking yet. Utah doesn't have enough depth to win the conference. Do you have talent? Yes. Do you have enough depth? No. We just watched the daggone football game where you didn't have enough depth. You got my name popping out. You did that, JT.
I can't help it that Cameron. Yes, go.
Utah plays UNLV.
They're a good team.
We'll see what happens.
Really quick. Since apparently this didn't turn into math class and we need numbers. 7th ranked defense in the country, clearly the best in the Big 12. The only defense in the Big 12 not to give up 100 yards rushing or 100 yards passing in a game yet. They played some inferior opponents. What did they do? The Utah defense is taking care of business. Van Fillinger, Connor O'Toole, top 2 pass rushers on this team, 1 and 2 in sacks. Is that better for numbers?
It's a shame that there is more than just defense in a football game and that offenses have to play well. Congrats on your 23 points against Baylor. But they're much improved on defense, aren't they? Against you, they were. Coming up, let's get a prediction from everybody on this. We were supposed to do it in this segment. Coming up, let's get a prediction on this weekend from everybody. We're going to keep it to 30 seconds or less on the Big 12 Squad. Today's show is brought to you by LinkedIn Talent Solutions. Look, if you see a good tweet from @LOBig12 on Twitter, it wasn't me. It was my intern that I hired from LinkedIn Talent Solutions. LinkedIn is not just a job board. It helps you hire professionals that you can't find anywhere else. Over 70% of LinkedIn users only use LinkedIn. 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire a professional like a professional. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. Visit linkedin.com/lockedoncollege today. It's prediction time. We've not heard enough from the guy who's got the backyard brawl this week. Mountaineer Paul, is your team good now? 30 seconds on West Virginia and Pitt this weekend.
I mean, it's a good question. I think it's going to answer a lot of questions. Pitt's not exactly world beaters. They scored 22 and answered in the fourth, which was wild against Cincinnati. Holstein was 4 for 11 up until that point. Went 10 of 11 in the fourth quarter of the game. Kudos to him. I don't think Pitt's a good football team. I think we smash them this weekend. I really, truly do.
John Denver rules.
Yep.
Yeah.
John Denver rules.
Love it.
Our pass defense is definitely suspect, though.
Richie Bradshaw, let's go more in chronological order now. Arizona State, Texas State in San Marcos. Arizona State is a 1.5-point favorite against G.J. Kinney's team. Give me your prediction this week.
I think it's going to be a slugfest. Excuse me. The way that ASU wins this game is to continue to suffocate the run, which over the first 2 games, they have not allowed 100 combined rushing yards to their opponents. For what it's worth, Wyoming can run the football. Mississippi State has Blake Shapen. It's not like they're playing nobodies. Obviously, there's still a lot to prove. In the meantime, you've got an offense that's kind of anemic through the passing attack, but you can run the heck out of the football with Cam Scattaboo, who just won the Doak Walker Player of the Week award. Give him the football. Allow Sam Levitt to play game manager, suffocate on defense. You have 4 turnovers on defense, 3 touchdowns on those 4 turnovers. There's a way to win this game. You just need to pound the rock and somehow slow down a really good Texas State running game.
Yeah, Blake Shapen is one of the quarterbacks of all time. Thank you, Richie.
He sure is.
Cody Stovall, locked on Oklahoma State. Going into Tulsa this week, I just want to put it out there. Alan Bowman didn't look very good to me. I don't know about you, but I still think Oklahoma State is a 28-year-old, somehow older than Cam Rising. Alan, it's a joke. Alan Bowman didn't look great. Do you have a lot of confidence, not just this week, but moving forward for a team that I do believe is consensus top 3?
I mean, not necessarily. I think what you saw from Bowman was a little bit of a regression back to the old school Bowman. Chris, I don't know why you're laughing. You are here to talk about.
I love me some Alan Bowman, man. I mean, throw a flag on me. I mean, come on. Boom, 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 boom.
Here's what I'll say is there's 2 teams historically that have been able to shut down Ollie Gordon. That is Texas and Arkansas. Thankfully, Tulsa is neither one of those ball clubs. There has to be an emphasis. We have to figure out how to run the ball again at some point in time, or this season is not going to go the way we need to. This has to be the game that our offensive line has to stop playing like a Charmin extra soft toilet paper and run somebody into the ground. It has to be this day. I'm going to say 44-21 Cowboys.
Cody, you forgot to say Utah in 2 weeks for shutting down Ollie Gordon as well, but you'll learn. It's okay.
You better hope and pray Cam Rising is healthy, buddy.
I promise he is. I promise.
North Texas, Texas Tech. Chris Level, I saw today the entire defense for the Red Raiders is out. Are you going to be at the game? Are you okay? Are you also? Holds up a sign that says, I hope both teams have fun. North Texas has a good offense, Chris. Will anybody be available on defense for Texas Tech?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, like, can we just get a redo and start the season over? This is I feel like I'm jealous. The word of the day is jealousy from most of you guys. This is not been a good start of the season. North Texas, actually head coach Eric Morris played wideout for Mike Leach at Texas Tech. They throw it all over the place. Chandler Morris, who was at TCU in Oklahoma. I think he's throwing it for about 380 a game. Who knows? I mean, take the over, say a prayer. Hopefully the Red Raiders will quit turning the ball over, quit committing penalties, but need a win. We got the Sun Devils coming in next weekend, or a week from Saturday, and then the Bearcats the week after that. So you got 3 straight home games, but better make some hay, folks.
3 straight losses. That's crazy, too.
Oh, tough.
I mean, I deserve all the smoke. I'm sorry. I
can appreciate the fact that Texas Tech decides to put out these injury reports so we know exactly who's not
Oh,
playing.
my gosh.
Yeah, BYU gives you nothing.
Please let there be
JT,
injury reports.
JT, you get 15 seconds because it's Utah State.
Utah's going to blow out Utah State's going to be 38-7. Utah's former quarterback last year, Bryson Barnes, actually may start in the game. Kind of weird, but Utah's going to blow them out. It's not going to be a game. And then all sites will be on that matchup in Stillwater the following week. Can't wait to go.
I have seen Bryson Barnes play college football once in my life, and play is a very strong word. Colorado and Colorado State. Kevin Borba, you've given a bit of a prediction. Give me the full prediction.
Yeah, I think Colorado's going to win 28-14. I think they just have a lot of problems in the trenches still. Defensively, they haven't gotten to anyone at all. And offensively, they kind of got embarrassed by Nebraska. So there's going to be a lot of people tuning into this game like there was last year. There was almost 9 million people watching. And I think we're going to see a very weird and ugly win. But I think Colorado State is a bad football team.
Yeah. Parker, for you, it's an old Josh Pate-ism. Never play a food. You've got Rice at home this week, and you're a 4-point favorite. Will Houston get its only win of the season?
If it were only about eating rice, I think it would be a lot more than a 4-point favorite. I think that, truthfully, Houston feels weirdly good about where they're at. There's a world where they played 2 playoff teams between UNLV. If they can beat Boise, could be the Group of 5 team in. If you told me Oklahoma was the 4th best
you
SEC
love UNLV.
team.
You really love
UNLV.
Arcadians for life.
I like, I think that Houston's feeling good. I got to be honest. Houston lost to Rice last year. Felt like a nail in the coffin for the Holgerson era. You got to hope that you open up the Willie Fritz era with a win here. A lot of people in town. Your Marcus said he's going to be there watching it in person. A lot could be on the line this weekend for.
Why would he ever do that to himself? Please, no.
It's a beautiful city with great food, including lots of rice to eat.
Jake Hatch, we are going right to you. BYU at Wyoming. Never play a night game in Laramie, but this Wyoming team stinks.
Hey, so long as BYU avoids the urine bombs that Wyoming fans are sure to throw at their sideline, I think they'll be okay. That's the biggest thing with this game. Shut down the rushing attack. You already heard Richie talk about it. Arizona State shut it down. BYU's defense last week is, besides Georgia, the only Power 4 team to hold a fellow Power 4 team out of the end zone. Jay Hill has completely revolutionized this BYU defense. If they do their thing, BYU will handle their business up there.
Hey, is that the bomb thing? That's real? The urine bomb? Like, what? Explain it. Like, no, you can't just gloss over that. Like, what in the world are you talking about, man?
Okay, Wyoming fans hate, and I mean hate BYU. FU BYU is a constant chant up there when BYU shows up in Laramie. My dad has been there when inebriated white Cowboy fans peed over the railing onto BYU walking out of the locker room. There have been urine bombs thrown from the stands onto players on the sideline.
Like in a balloon or a bottle or what? I mean, what are we talking?
In a balloon. In a balloon.
You're a little too interested.
I love how
Don't get any ideas over there in Lubbock.
I went to Laramie.
They have tortillas in Lubbock, and he is so.
Yeah, Chris is going to start soaking tortillas in urine now. Good job, Jake.
I'm trying to learn, man.
BYU has won. BYU's won 9 straight games over Wyoming. The last time Wyoming beat BYU, it was 2 losing teams going head-to-head. Wyoming fans tore down the goalposts and paraded them down Main Street in Laramie, Wyoming. They have an absolute visceral hate for the Brigham Young University Cougars, and it's going to be on full display Saturday night.
Well, Hatch, may God be on your side. It sounds like if that is the case, he is. He definitely is.
We can all mark urine bomb off of our bingo card from here. The Big 12,
yeah, hey, Jake, we're a raincoat, bring an umbrella.
Oh, trust me, I'm ready. I'm ready. Don't worry.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, Chris Level's got to get back to crying. Thank you guys for joining the show this week. Chris Level of Locked On Texas Tech, Cody Stovall, Locked On Oklahoma State, Parker Ainsworth with the Cougs of Houston, Kevin Borba in Colorado, Richie Bradshaw of the Sun Devils, Mountaineer Paul of Locked On West Virginia, Jake Hatch of BYU, Derek Johnson of Jayhawks, and JT Wistersill of Big 12 champion. Did you change the script?
Thank you.
Of the Utah Utes. And follow, subscribe to your favorite Locked On Big 12 podcast. We'll be covering your favorite team every day throughout the season. Don't forget, I'll have you covered the entire network on Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. See you with the Big 12 squad next week.